The police recommended changing the locks on the doors and such. To Lucy, she understood I wouldn't feel comfortable staying in that house for a while after. So she started letting the kids stay with a relative or one of her parents coming to watch the kids. I don't know what happened after that because we kind of fell out of contact. I didn't really like the fact that it was okay with me checking the closet when she was already suspicious that it was her ex. It was definitely a horrifying experience. I had just turned 14. It was the summer of 2012. I was looking for a job. My grandma had told me about a family that she was friends with, and they had two boys, Alexander and Danny. Alexander was 10 and Danny was 5. I was very excited to have a summer job and get some extra spending money. I went over to meet the family with my grandma, and they were friendly enough. The two boys seemed easy to handle and not babyish or whiny at all. In fact, the boys and I were playing with their trucks, getting along great. I set up a date with the parents, and they actually had a dinner to go to the next. So the next night it became time for me to head over to the house. It was a humid, rainy night. I walked into the house, and the parents were just getting ready to leave. They gave me a paper with rules and such, things they didn't want the kids to do and their routines. They wrote a little something on the side that said, "Danny swears he hears tapping on his window every night, but not to believe it because they think it's just a silly story that kids make up." I was only 14 myself, so reading this was a little unnerving, but I sort of forgot about it. It was a chill night. We watched TV and played with toys. They didn't give me any sort of trouble, but when I told the boys it was time to get ready for bed, I noticed Danny starting to stall and get kind of distressed. I ignored it, thinking he's only 5 and probably wants to stay up later. Eventually, I got them both to settle down and go to sleep. About an hour and a half had passed. It was now 10 p.m. I heard Danny groggily but loudly yell for me. I rushed up to him and asked what was the matter. He told me he heard the tapping noise again. I instantly felt uneasy and nervous, but I just flicked on the light and looked out the window. Nothing outside except darkness and the solar lights from the neighbor's driveway. La puerta? Santiago then proceeds to go inside a bedroom that has a hidden closet. The owner states that his family has felt a certain presence within this closet and has kept it shut for the longest time until recently. Feeling a bit spooked, he heads on over to the other rooms where he begins to feel even more uneasy. What happens then has left him baffled. This is what he caught. Yes, okay. The chair all of a sudden rocks on its own. It is at this moment that Santiago decides to leave the premises while trying to keep calm by talking more about the property. The sudden infestation of flies, ants, and other insects, plus the markings on the walls as well as the foul odor throughout the home, have led viewers to believe that the house is haunted. And of course, the chair moving on its own was enough to convince them that something paranormal had occurred. But as always, I'll leave it to you to come up with your own conclusion. Like with most videos, the question still remains what exactly had been caught on camera. This next video speaks for itself. We can see 3 people who appear to be friends using what looks to be a Ouija board. Out of all paranormal videos, those involving Ouija boards often show footage of a session that goes wrong. That being said, this next video is no exception. This is what was caught. A stuffed toy moves on its own, but it seems that no one had noticed it. That is, until later in the video when someone looks over. Whether real or not, viewers believe that it's best to never use a Ouija board, as most videos show that something goes wrong. But of course, what do you think? This next video features a family of 3 who lives in a house that they believe is haunted. The family has experienced many strange occurrences inside this house. But out of all things encountered, there's one incident that is by far the creepiest. The following is the video they took. The video begins with the father of the family who's recording what appears to be a small pool for children. According to him, his son Rowan was playing with Mom inside the pool when he points to the house and says that he could see a man in the window. And right there in that room, that's where Rowan said that he saw a man. Inside there, and he stood and he sat in the pool right here. And he sat there staring up and he said, "That's a man." And he kept looking in there and said, "There's a man in there." So if no one had been inside, then who or what did Rowan see? Rowan's mother states that she was creeped out by her son's comment. But it's what happened later that day that creeped her out the most. After playing in the pool, they both go inside to dry up when Rowan walks over to the dining room where the figure was seen and stares at something for a very long time.